Good day, my dear brethren. This is Brother Medina, and we are here in the church in Morvant. I would like to say the grace and peace, the grace of God be with you all. Je t'aime, mon ami. We are now just going to talk a little more about the value of Turl. The value of Turl is a value that emphasizes rights and freedoms. But it does not just talk about rights and freedoms. It talks about rights and freedoms in the context that rights and freedoms are God ordained. They are actually given by God to everyone at birth. And furthermore, that these rights and freedoms being inalienable, not coming from man but from God, and cannot be separated from man's body, those same rights and freedoms are inviolable, they must not be violated. Now, today we live in a world where republicanism is dying. And when we say republicanism is dying, we mean Jeffersonian republicanism. Because you must know, my dear brethren, there are two types of republicanism. There is Jeffersonian republicanism and there is Jacobinian republicanism. Jacobinian republicanism is anti-rights and anti-freedoms. It's a pretended republic. But the Jeffersonian republic is a republic that was built based upon an understanding that the rights and freedoms of man came from God. If we take a look at the Declaration of Independence written by Thomas Jefferson, we would see a very important thing here. When you're talking about rights and freedoms, you're talking about republicanism. Because republicanism is emphasized in this way: no king ruling over us. Why no king ruling over us? Because they are kings? No. Because kings are hereditary rulers. They believe in the philosophy of the divine rights of the king, and that philosophy takes away the rights and freedoms of individuals. So the reason why a ruler or a leader was to be chosen and to stay in office for a short time based upon the choice of the people in elections was because no hereditary ruler was to rule in a country, because with the pride and the arrogance they would have a tendency of taking away people's rights and freedoms. Furthermore, why were you to have a parliament? You would have a parliament to protect people's rights and freedoms, because nobody wanted a king to choose a few men to make laws for them that they were against. The people, rather, their own people make the laws for them. And such laws must regard the rights and freedoms of man as coming from God. So a parliament, the existence of a parliament was again also for the sake of protecting rights and freedoms. Separation of powers. Why separation of powers? In the history of this world, persecution has always taken place when the three powers of the state, not only the judiciary, not only the legislature, but the executive, come together on a common ideology, unite together on a common ideology, and that common ideology is usually anti-rights and anti-freedom. You see, if the powers did not want to practice tyranny, they will be separated, and each will watch the other and keep them from taking away the rights and freedoms of man. So the purpose of separation of powers is also for the sake of protecting rights and freedoms. But why protect rights and freedoms? Because they are God ordained, and because they are supposed to be inviolable. In Trinidad and Tobago and other countries of the world, people usually speak about a republic. They speak about independence, they speak about having their own president, they speak about people being elected to parliament. But why all of these things? Why no king? Why a country have self-determination? For the sake of protecting the rights and freedoms of individuals. The whole issue, the whole thing is about rights and freedoms, and that's why Turl exists. Because Turl exists as an organization to sensitize people about rights and freedom, to train them in the true doctrine of human rights. Because there's a great persecution coming. And with this great persecution, we know for sure that many of us will fall victim to murder and to unjust laws by government. That being the case, if we could somehow make people become aware of their rights, they will recognize that they don't have to violate their conscience for the sake of government. it is needed to be understood that government do not give you rights. They do not manufacture rights on a pen. They do not create rights in a legislature. The rights already came from God when you were born. Everybody have the same rights, the vagrant and the prime minister, children and the old person. And there's no special rights that one group has that another doesn't have. There's nothing called rights, gay rights. There's nothing called gay rights. They don't have rights that nobody else has. And furthermore, what if you were to take immorality and legalize immorality by law, calling it a right? Men of conscience would obviously be the target of persecution by that law because they will disagree with it. And proof that it is not rights, the fact that it is only a group has it. Rights are not group oriented. Rights are equal for all under law. And this must always be recognized. So my dear brethren, we have a lot of literature, we have a lot of doctrines that explains rights and freedoms. We are asking you to get all of those literature and study them, learn them. Learn it from the palm of your hands. Learn to say the 3 rights, learn to say the 8 freedoms. Learn to explain the difference between rights and freedoms. And always remember this important thing. All the prophecies that are to be preached in the future about the mark of the beast, about the Sunday law, about the 144,000. All of that, the point about all of it is simply this. Rights and freedoms come from God. And as a result of being inalienable, they're supposed to be inviolable, not violated. That's the important point. So, may God bless you as you study these things. Plus, we also filmed something in the library with regards to the display, which we will put on the internet and make it available for you all, that you all can go through it also. That you all can see it also, that you all can study it. But always remember this important thing. Here is the important thing. The rights of God, listen carefully, the rights of God show that men have rights. If God has the right to rule over all, then men has freedom. Then men have religious liberty. If God has the right to be judge over all, then men have the right to life. If God has the right to actually rule over all of us, then we have the right to private property. So the rights of God shows that there are human rights. And anybody who seeks to play God, that means they seize your rights and your freedom. You must always remember this, that rights and freedoms are not to be managed by government. They're just supposed to be protected and secured. The only person that manages our rights is God. And when God manages our rights, they remain forever. So, as we say, je t'aime mon ami, grace of God be with you, we love you all.